This is our nightly kick-around of all things World Cup. Peter Welton, Andy Swift, and Lars on World Cup Kick-Around. Brought to you by Pantalones Organic Tequila, The Wolf of Wall Street, and Sports Radio 96.7 and 1310, The Ticket.
Roslich looking for Perisic, knocks it backward, Palamusa, FC Dallas scores a goal in his World Cup debut, and Croatia, for the second time this half, come from behind to tie it.
Welcome to World Cup Kick-Around and our nightly coverage of Match Day 7 for Sports Radio 96.7 and 1310, The Ticket. And you can find out all the information about how to listen to the show via podcast and all the other fun stuff over on our website, thekickaround.com. I'm here. Andy is not here, and we'll explain that in a second. But to my left, but to your right, as you stare lovingly into your broadcast radio box thingamajig, straight out of, well, not yet. He'll go home in his Alto. It is your favorite Norwegian and mine, Lars Sivertsen.
Hi.
We've spent
No
a lot
Andy?
of this day today together.
No Andy. I'm in Andy's chair.
You're in Andy's
Gotta have
chair.
to fill a lot of that. To be extra Lars today. We're going XL.
You get to be Andy today.
Okay. I should have brought more stats and history stuff if I was going to
And
do
more
that.
hair.
I lean on Andy for that.
Absolutely. Wow, what a day. Lars and I are just back after hustling home from quote-unquote Dallas Stadium to watch England-Croatia, which we got to do with Andy and his family, which was really great. You know, as everybody knows, while Andy himself is kind of a Bennington of colors for football,
Yes.
he does have a family member who is of Croatian descent, so they were there supporting Croatia, and it was great to hang out with them. Lots of fun today.
Yeah, no, amazing day. First time at the Dallas Stadium for me. Let's call it that. That's what it is during the World Cup.
Okay, that's
Yes.
gonna just
Not really in Dallas, but it is a Dallas.
right. I know, but
It's hard to explain to foreigners. It's not in Dallas, but it's the Dallas Stadium where the Dallas Cowboys play.
But isn't it silly that I think the reason why FIFA does that is because everybody knows where Dallas is?
Yes.
And so they just call it that for simplicity's sake.
What I think is very silly is that they're calling it the New York, New Jersey Stadium when it's definitely not in New York. It is just in New Jersey. It just FIFA wanted to sound like they're having the final in New York when they're not.
Yeah, it is some weird decision-making, 100%. We mentioned Alto, and this is our time for us to discuss it further because Lars will be taking his Alto home tonight because, you know, Lars is hanging out here in Dallas for 2 months, and we needed to get him around, and Alto was cool enough to set him up. And Alto is a fantastic ride share option, but it's better because they own all their cars. All the cars are exactly the same, maybe a white one here or a black one there. And all the drivers are full-time employees and all great people. Lots of improvement there.
Yeah, no, and what I've come to really appreciate is, aside from the comfort and the safety and all the good things, is the charging ports and the Wi-Fi, which is which means because I am on this quest to watch all the games, and it is not easy now that we're doing things like I went golfing, we went to the stadium. It's becoming harder logistically. I had to watch the Portugal game on my phone in your car, Peter. That was a challenge, but we got there. And I guess I'll be watching Uzbekistan, Colombia in an Alto later, but that'll be very comfortable and relaxing and fine.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Alto. All right, before we move on, and we will get into talking about our adventure today, Andy will be joining us. Andy had to administrate moving family about, so we gave him the night off. But he really wants to talk about his experience and the game, so we're going to call Andy in the next segment and have him on the phone. It really wouldn't feel right to do that without Andy, would it?
No, it would feel bad to do that without Andy. We can't have the Portugal game without Andy.
It'd be
we can't have the Croatia game without
it would
Andy.
be like the Three Stooges without Larry.
It would be to the Two Stooges, which would be not as good.
Right. Do Norwegians know what the
Not
Three
at
Stooges
all.
are?
I'm just kind of going with it.
Really, you
No,
don't?
There are certain things. Okay, it's very random when it's like. This will have changed now, but like 30 years ago when I was growing up, there wasn't like a ton of channels. There were some channels, but
right.
and the internet wasn't a thing anymore yet. So it was very random, like what was imported. Some very random shows from abroad came in. So there's some cultural references I'll get more than you expect, and there's some I'll get not at all.
Three Stooges is a very, very old, almost vaudevillian type trio of the most ridiculously silly antics
Yeah.
of these three guys. And when I was growing up, it was already really old, but we all loved it because it was just so stupid. So maybe while you're here, we have to introduce Lars to the Three Stooges.
Do you know what I did watch as a child?
Three Mooses?
MacGyver.
Ah!
We had MacGyver somehow. For some reason, we had MacGyver. That was a weekly
I
thing.
can't imagine trying to watch MacGyver dubbed in Norwegian.
It wasn't dubbed. That's the whole.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you had no English?
No, we have
enough to-
subtitles.
Oh,
This
okay.
is why we speak English pretty decently.
Pretty decently.
Mhm.
All right, very good. So Andy will be joining us in a few minutes. The news of the day. Again, I feel like this is going to be an ongoing piece of drama we're just going to beat to death, which is the calf condition of one Christian Pulisic.
It's taken over from Chris Richards' ankle. This is like an ongoing thing. We got to have some kind of injury thing going on that we're all fretting. That, you know what? For people who aren't familiar with this, people who are not soccer heads, this might even be the first World Cup you're paying attention to. This is World Cup lore. The team you care about always has at least one injury thing going on that you're freaking out about. No, everyone in England.
What's the Norwegian one?
It's the just general situation of Martin Ødegaard. What's going on with him? Maybe
Yes.
we'll get to that.
Okay.
But every English person knows what a metatarsal bone is because we've had the Wayne Rooney metatarsal. We've had Beckham's
David Beckham's, yeah.
yeah. So these things become national traumas. And this year you had Chris Richards' ankle leading up to the first game, and now it's Christian Pulisic's calf.
Yeah, and so the bad news is that he wasn't part of training again today, and now here we are 2 days out before the big game against Australia, and they keep trying to tell everybody he's going to be okay and not to worry about it, but my experience is that if you are going to be playing or at least starting, you are likely to be required to train with the team for all the obvious reasons and preparation and so forth. So this would indicate to me, unless they're trying to pull a fast one on everybody, that he's unlikely to start or maybe even play against Australia on Friday, which would really change things, I think.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I've been kind of bullish about it's a knock on the calf. Train easy, he'll be fine. But you are right. If he's not training properly for any of the training days in between the games, at least he probably doesn't start. But I mean, he could come on from the bench. Like, he is moving. He's not sat in a chair feeling sad.
Yeah.
They're just being very careful with him. I still think it's possible that you start a guy if he's up to it, but it makes more sense given that you have one more game after. Like, it makes sense against Australia, who are quite a physically tough team, by the way, to start someone else and just have the ability to bring Pulisic off the bench in the second half if you really need something.
It does, and that's part of the thinking, which is in considering they're probably going to do a lot of kicking, do you really want to risk him with that? Because you're assuming you're going to have a longer than normal run through this tournament and you're going to need him more than this one game. And with the way Reyna played the other night, maybe Reyna's the replacement and he becomes some sort of like Phoenix-like superhero and does something great against Australia. So we'll keep everybody posted on that. Because Andy's not here, we don't have a quiz question tonight, so no prizes and riches for you, the P1s, tonight. We'll save that up for tomorrow. We'll take a break. When we come back, we all went to the big game today. Andy will check in via the phone, and we'll talk about England's big win over Croatia next on World Cup KickAround. Dare I ask what this one is?
This one should probably be taken out of rotation. But Austria did win yesterday. This is the Austrian World Cup song that has Shaggy in it, and nobody knows why.
Oh.
At least I don't.
Very weird.
The football is my life.
Maybe Shaggy's popular in Austria.
Could be.
And they did win last night.
Yeah.
Although I didn't watch that game. I've only seen highlights of it. Because
I was so close to falling asleep.
I was very sweepy.
I was extremely sleepy, but I got through it, partially because it was kind of fun.
You know what else makes me sweepy? Ghana and Panama. It is in the 57th minute. It is still donuts. And this appears to be, we have our very first 2026 World Cup stinker.
Yeah, we do. And it's the last, almost the last teams involved. and this, I have to say, it's been an awful game. I've been trying to follow it at the corner of my eye. We're 56 minutes in, and we've had 6 shots. There were
Between two teams?
There were 3 shots in the entire first half. That's not good. So this is when Americans who are not soccer heads are like, nah, I don't want to watch soccer, it's so boring, nothing ever happens. this is the game they're talking about. Like this, I feel like that statement is almost never true. It certainly wasn't true in England, Croatia, but. If this is your first soccer game that you're watching, you would never watch this again. No. You would just go, what is this?
Well, thank God, even though it's on in prime time, it's stuffed over on FS1. Fox Programming was at least smart enough to do that.
Set the entire sport back several decades.
All right, Lars, myself, and Andy were all at Dallas Stadium today for England, Croatia, thanks to Andy. And he is on the phone, the Diamond Factory ticket hotline. I don't know how that feels to be on that end of it, but here he is.
Boys, can you
Andy Swift.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So we're listening to the show.
Oh my God, we have.
Man, today.
You're cutting out on us already, Andy. What were you saying?
Can you hear? That we're listening to the show. My parents are like, today's show is especially good. What's the difference? Like, I don't know. Anyway.
Your parents are so sweet. It was awesome. Can you believe in however many decades we've known each other, that's the first time
I know.
I've ever met you?
Nice. Yeah, it was nice. Although when I told them, we're going to have World Cup KickAround this year and Lars is coming in to do it live with us, they're like, when can we meet Lars? It wasn't like, this is great, another World Cup show. No, it's like, when are we going to get to meet Lars? So they finally met Lars today, so that was cool.
Everybody wants to meet Lars.
Yeah, everybody wants to meet Lars.
Andy, it was a big day for your family because it was Croatia, and I know the result didn't go the way you guys wanted it to go, but, man, that was quite a scene at the stadium today.
The stadium was amazing. The England supporters really brought it, as you know. I was a little fearful heading into the game that they weren't going to travel as well because of all the issues we've talked about. But they were there. They were present. Fair number of Croatians as well. But the atmosphere was outstanding.
And it was officially sold out, so 1,300 more people at this game than there was at the Japan-Netherlands game.
That's right. And even though Lars was pointing out a few suites that didn't have a lot of people in them, like those don't count towards official attendance. But yeah, it was a packed house. And it's just awesome to see this stadium have that kind of atmosphere for a soccer match. And just for any kind of sporting event, and the fact that it's the World Cup and the fact that there are neutrals. I'm sure you guys ran into them when you were there. Neutrals and non-soccer people going to the game just to see what this is all about, going, man, this is something else. That's pretty cool, too.
All right, Lars, this was your baptism into Jerry World and a World Cup indoors, and that's probably your first indoor soccer game you've ever been to.
Not quite.
Okay.
Not quite.
Well, not the one with the walls. Not like the old sidekicks. I'm talking. Okay.
I've been to.
So, what is your thoughts and observations?
It is an incredible venue. It is a remarkable venue. It's massive, and it does pass the sort of Lars Sivertsen sniff test when it comes to like newer built stadiums. Because my issue with a lot of the recently constructed stadiums, recent-ish anyway, is that they all kind of look the same a little bit. But this one has genuine character, I think, because the slightly funky designs on the short side. I think for me, it's a criteria for a good stadium is that you should be able to look around and tell exactly where you are. It should never feel like every other stadium. And I do think, as much as this is huge, new, designed by top people, etc., I think it really passes that test. I think it's a great venue for football.
So you enjoyed watching the game in there?
Yeah,
okay.
It was good.
Because it's just so fundamentally different than pretty much everywhere else. I just wonder if it's too different.
It is different. The massive screen is a new one. I know now, I had this conversation with the Barney Ronay, the chief sports writer of The Guardian yesterday, who was blown away by the size of the screen and just the brain struggles to compute.
We've all been there at one point in the last 20 years.
It is a little, yeah. And I also, being a grumpy young man, I have a problem with the way these events are put on with all the music they pump in and all of it. It's too much for me. But that's a whole separate issue. That's got nothing to do with the stadium itself. That's just how these games are organized. I do think this is, and it was. The atmosphere really, especially the first 15 minutes of the second half when England had a good period, the atmosphere was really good. It got loud, it got good. It's a real shame there was a hydration break to kind of break that all up, but it was great.
Andy, the game was a good game. This was an improvement over the Japan-Netherlands game the other day.
For sure. And one thing I want to point out, because you guys probably have.
We lost Andy. Andy's terrible technology with his
Yeah,
cell phone. You have to start over because you cut out again. I'm sorry.
one thing you guys didn't get to see because you guys had to bolt early because of the show. After the game, after the final whistle blew, it was really cool. The English team, England, stayed on the field, acknowledged their fans, and stadium played like 3 songs that are very appropriate for the English supporters. They stayed and great, like I would say 80% of the English supporters stayed in the bowl, and it felt very much like a home game, or like a game in a tournament where England has the large majority of the fans at the stadium. It just felt very much like that. But the fact that it was here in the U.S. in Dallas, and that I got to see that, and all these people that aren't part of that English supporter group got to see that I think was pretty special and something that we're not privy to because we don't get to see tournaments in Europe. And it was here because the World Cup is here. And that's what's special about the World Cup, I think.
And this was actually remarked on. So we were listening in the car getting back to do the show. I put on some UK radio to get interviews with the players and the coach and hear what people were saying. And a lot of the commentators and pundits there were remarking that there seemed to be a real moment of bonding between the team and the fans after the game because England hasn't always had a flawless relationship with their fans, because there have been ups and downs, and they're a team that have frequently disappointed at the highest level. But in this case, there seemed to be like a very tight relationship with the fans and the players, and that you saw after the game.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, Andy, because I don't want to tie you up because I know you got things going on. Just your thoughts overall on the game itself, the way it played out, Croatia's performance, England's performance, etc.
I thought it was a really good game. I think it played out a little bit you would have expected. England was strong. They looked like title contenders. Croatia showed their flashes of creative play and the ability to put fun things, but to put fun things in play. But at the end of the day, they wore out. Depth came through for England. They're deep. Croatia not as much. Modric had to come out even though they were down, which shows that speaks volumes, right? That they could have used another goal and could have used them there, but they need him for another 2 games. And I think that's a fundamental difference between a team like England and a team like Croatia. And at the end of the day, I think England deserved the win, perhaps not by 2 goals, but they were the deserving winner today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the depth is such a big point. And Peter, you remarked this at the time that England can make the double switch and take out the starting wingers, Gordon and Madueke, and what you're bringing on is Saka and Rashford. And it's like, oops, that's some depth.
You take out Luka Modric and you put in Mateo Kovacic.
Yeah, it's not quite the same.
Yeah, it's not the same thing. Yeah,
but it was great. I mean, we're going to talk more about this, but it was such a moment to see the hometown hero, though, FC Dallas player Petar Musa scoring. Not really at home, I guess, but kind of at home.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's in front of his hometown fans. And it is crazy because I swear, Andy, how long ago was it that this came up on the show? Was it 6-7 months ago?
When you brought up what could happen today?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about specifically? Yeah.
The prophecy, as we now call it.
Yeah. Have you talked about it yet on the show? Or
No, we haven't. No.
Well, you need to say this. And on the show, you, Peter, predicted something. What did you predict?
I don't remember when it was. I swear it was probably either late last year or early this year. But at some point on the show, and I swear I put it on Twitter, but I can't find it now. At the time, I'm just going to be honest, I meant it as a joke because it just seemed so improbable. That what would happen if Petar Musa... What would happen if Petar Musa made the Croatian squad 1, 2? Oh, it was after Croatia got paired with England in the draw. That's when it was.
The draw.
Yes, and I said, what would happen if Petar Musa 1 made the team, 2 played in that game against England, and 3 scored in Dallas against England in a World Cup game? Dan and Clark Hunt's heads would blow off with excitement because of all the money they're about to make. And I'll be damned if it didn't actually happen today, right on the stroke of halftime. It was remarkable. It was a crazy moment. I think Lars was lost in all of it. He didn't understand why I was so excited or laughing as much as why.
I noticed it.
It was crazy the fact that happened, and he had had an opportunity earlier in the game and didn't make anything of it, and was largely silent the rest of the rest of the half.
Peter, you were gleefully declaring yourself to be the prophet. I figured either Musa has scored or you have had some kind of religious incident.
Peter, you got so excited you had to apologize to the English fans behind you because you were over celebrating. To which I said, "No, it's okay to celebrate."
It's a very Peter
Welton. Yeah, celebrate all you want. It's okay.
That guy looks so confused too. By the way, when I
celebrating everything.
He'd also hit me in the head earlier in the day, so I think he was thinking I was going to turn and yell at him for hitting me in the head.
It was okay. I was glad to see you celebrate a Croatia goal because we were there. By the way, I have to say this real quick. This is third generation Swift Garafovich family watching a World Cup game because my grandfather went to see the former Yugoslavia, Croatia, in the '62 World Cup, and now my mom and I got to see Croatia in a World Cup here in Dallas. So there you go, over 60-year difference, but all three generations got to go see Croatia play in a World Cup, which is pretty cool. And you guys were there to witness it.
Well, thanks for helping make that happen. That was really sweet of you. So thanks so very much, Andy.
It was awesome. It was awesome having you guys there. Yep.
It was good to have the family together. That's for sure. Well, Andy, be safe the rest of the night, and thank you for taking the time to share the experience with everybody.
All right. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
See you tomorrow on another episode of World Cup KickAround. All right. Very good.
See you guys.
All right. Bye-bye. Lars, real quick, England. Just your overall observations real quick on England and whatever happened at halftime that Jude Bellingham goal, seconds into the second half, was electric in person.
Yeah, so England weren't terrible in the first half, but they were a little stodgy, the way England can often be at tournaments. They scored 2 goals. One was from a penalty, one was from a corner kick. And actually, I'm going to steal a joke from Barney Roney of The Guardian, who I've been referencing a lot recently. He referred to the penalty goal. It was a set-piece goal squared because it was a penalty that was given after a corner kick. So it was like a set-piece within a set-piece. And that will be a weapon for England in this tournament, I think, the set-pieces. They got a lot of height and a lot of power there. But the passing wasn't really working properly. And Croatia were looking clever, and they were getting these openings. Thomas Tuchel, apparently, at halftime, a lot of people are talking about this, he told the players, he didn't shout at them or anything, he just told them to play like themselves. We're going to go out there and be ourselves, play like who we want to be, and if we loses, that's how we're going to lose.
Yeah.
That was the message from him. And I think that was tangible, that they looked a little bit freed up in the second half, and they were going for it a little bit more, and they were, maybe their shoulders weren't quite so high.
Yeah, it felt like a very even game through the first 2 quarters. But in the second half, man, England just felt like the clearly superior team, and when the substitutions began, the game really began to kind of get out of Croatia's control. Although there was a little bit of that weird point when it was 3-2 that you felt like they had made too many substitutions, England had, and maybe Croatia could get something out of it, but it never transpired.
Both the second half goals from England were really good. There was a great individual effort from Bellingham, and also the Rashford goal to tie it up. That's a brilliant sort of sweeping move that actually begins with them playing their way out from the back, which was very good.
With a Saka assist, no less.
Saka assist. You know, so just because we spoke so much about Petr Musa being the hometown hero, and he is, just how about the assist from Perisic on that? I'm just going to mention it because it was a chipped ball over the back line that Perisic ran onto, and he headed it kind of backwards and sideways, which is not typically what you think of doing, but it was perfect. He attracted 3 defenders to himself so that Musa was left all alone. It was so clever.
Yeah, we talk about how much fun Modric is to watch. Perisic, equally old, is also really fun to watch as a player. Croatia in general is a really fun team to check out. Being able to say that I got to watch Luka Modric play in his, I assume his last World Cup, is kind of cool.
I mean, it's gonna have to
and as
be.
I said in the car
40.
on the way home, it was a great night for me because 1, I got to see England win a World Cup game, and 2, the striker from my club scored in a World Cup game, and that was really, really cool. All right, we've got a lot of other stuff to talk about, including Ronaldo's debut in this tournament. We got to talk about Messi's performance last night and a whole lot more. We will do that next on World Cup KickAround. Okay, this one's pretty badass. What is this?
It's the Dutch. I believe it's their song, or a song that was made for Euro 2010, I'd like to say.
God, for a second, I thought maybe it was Welsh and this was Tom Jones.
Well, I mean, it could be. It sounds like it's the Dutch Tom Jones, maybe. Maybe that's what he's known as. The video involves like Wesley Sneijder and Mark van Bommel and all these dudes larking around. It's good.
This is awesome.
I'll send it to you after the show.
For those listening and confused because we haven't heard, we're rejoining each of the segments with World Cup theme songs from various nations over the world, and Lars and Dixon have gone and found all those.
And I have taken great
collection.
pride in finding like goofy ones, not the official corporate FIFA ones that now come out every year, because they're no fun.
The 1990 USA rap song is probably going to be in here soon. You know what we should do? If they're all, are they all on Spotify or Apple Music? Or
I can see what I can do.
We should put a playlist together.
I will do that. I mean, that seems like something I could do during Colombia, Uzbekistan, because that might also not be an amazing game. That's unfair.
Not.
Colombia are an exciting team. The Uzbeks, who knows? I'm just looking at Ghana, Panama here, and it hasn't gotten better, dear listener.
It's been 20 minutes, and
not
it's
amazing.
exactly the same.
Yeah, the Toronto snoozer. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Before we get into the other stuff, real quick, last night, Austria won 3-1 over Jordan, and I had forgotten. I only saw like 5 minutes of this, 10 maybe, before I fell sleepy sleep. I forgot how fun Ralph Ragnick teams can be, because they just go 110 miles an hour.
Yeah, and I mean, Jordan, I think out of all the minnows, Jordan, I mean, they lost, but they showed quite a lot of willingness to get forward. The goal they scored was really nice. But maybe that's also the inherent instability in Austria's approach. I've spoken so much about how I think this is a good tournament for the teams that can really control the engagement and not burn off more energy than they have to, and not give the ball away when they don't have to. I think Austria were not listening. They were doing all of those things, but it made the game quite lively and interesting to watch. I will say that.
Well, that was a good win for Austria and sets up that group interestingly. The Uzbeks debut tonight against Colombia at 9 o'clock on FS1. That game is being played in the Azteca down in Mexico City. That one should be interesting. Colombia is an older team, but I still am pretty high on them.
You're pretty high on Colombia, actually.
I think they're going to be, they got Luis Diaz, and I think he's just kind of a tournament-ready kind of dude.
He's a good player, but you are also like the number one Luis Diaz stan in my life.
I just, he's kind of cool.
And the Uzbeks have got a striker named Eldar Shomurodov, I think. Shomuru.
Oh, he's my favorite.
I've struggled with that one. But he used to play in Italy for Genoa and Roma. And I want to bring him up because he once got the tagline, the Uzbek Messi, which is... it's one of those things.
I was on...
The Uzbek Messi.
I was on... the TV or something stupid that I get asked to do these things, and somebody said, that they claim he's the Australian Messi, and I'm like, look, every country has a Messi. They all have a player, they've all anointed their Messi, so I'm not really sure you should glom on or take any real seriousness out of that.
Shomurodov. I make fun of Peter so much for butchering names. Every time I do it, I have to hang my head in shame.
And mine's a learning disability.
Do you know what? Sheldon Shaqiri was once referred to as the Messi of the Alps.
I'm sure he was. I mean, at least he's physically closer in size.
Yes.
100%. Well, speaking of Messi, last night was a magical night. Argentina 3, Algeria nothing. The scenes in Kansas City at Arrowhead were just insane. Messi... Man, I just don't know, Lars. There's just nothing else you can say.
No, I mean, we did say this. I mean, that was one of those takes that didn't age very well. We did say on air last night that, he can surely carry the whole team, the whole tournament again. And then, well, maybe he can. He certainly started out doing that.
I mean, is there any argument that maybe they're too Messi-centric? Because I think I saw he was 4 of the 6 shots they had on goal, and he was 4 of the 10 or whatever it was total shots in the game for them.
I think definitely a lot of their attack revolves around getting it to Messi in shooting distance. But then if you have my Messi, why wouldn't you make that your attack?
Yeah.
I just think the thing that's extraordinary to me is that he played 80 minutes. Like I've always been wondering, like, how are they going to do this with him? Are they going to rest him? Are they going to maybe bring him off the bench in some games? But they went to 2-0 at an hour, and Algeria weren't offering much, and I thought for sure they're just going to take him off now. But no, he played until 80 minutes. And, of course, he's not zipping around like a lunatic. That wouldn't be very good. but he's so crisp and clean and precise in every action. It's actually not just the shots. It's all his little layoffs and passes and things. He actually recovered the ball a couple of times as well. I saw him put in something that resembled a tackle. The guy is just eternal. Like, he should be studied for science.
Well, obviously, we'll just take a quick second and hear your opinion on the card that was not.
It's one of those where I think it's in that gray zone of VAR where I think if it had been given, I'm not sure it would have been overturned. You know, it was, but there wasn't a ton of force in it. Like, it is studs on the leg in a way that you really don't like to see. So I have a feeling it's in that gray zone of if it had been given, VAR wouldn't have overturned it, but not giving it isn't wrong enough for VAR to intervene. For non-soccer heads, this is a weird concept, but we have video refereeing in this sport, and they have this concept of it has to be very wrong for the video referee to get involved. Like, this is the idea. So there is a whole gray zone of incidents that can happen where not awarding it is not, it's not wrong enough that it gets changed.
I did not see it in real time because we were on the air when it happened, and then I heard about it after the fact. So I went back and I fast-forwarded generally to the point, and when it happened in real time, I didn't even notice it happen. And I only realized, this must be the incident. And then, of course, they go back and they do what they always do, which is the big bugaboo I have about this, which is they slow motion it to death.
Yeah.
And if you watch something in slow motion enough times, you'll eventually talk yourself into something. So don't do slow motion. Watch every play from however many camera angles they afford you, but watch them in real time only to make decisions. And I think that's part of what happens here. The still images, the slow motion just makes it look worse than it was. But I will say this, because this is a subjective decision by a center referee. If that exact same thing had happened and that guy does that to Messi, I think he gives him a red card. And that's what the GOAT status force field affords him.
That's a hypothetical that I can't really engage with. But the way I saw this was that I checked my phone after the show, and it came up on the feed, and it was kind of forwarded and posted by someone who was really upset about Messi not getting a red card, and the person had a picture of Cristiano Ronaldo in his avatar. And there's a side of me that when they both disappear from the news cycle, I'm going to miss these constant Messi-Ronaldo wars that have been going on.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's a fascinating conversation. It was weird to me how I think, actually, in fairness and credit to the Tunisians, they didn't harp or make a big deal. I'm probably making a bigger deal out of it than they have, at least based on what I've seen. So, shocker there. But overall, Messi was fantastic. And the best part, I think, about last night was that due to just the fluke of World Cup scheduling, Messi ends up being the first male to play in six consecutive World Cups over Ronaldo,
yes,
who hit the field today for Portugal and then proceeded not to score any goals or do much of anything.
So the first human implies that this is something an animal might have. It was like Skippy the dog has 8.
You never know. Back in the day, in the
those big
World
turtles, they're very old.
That's true.
I was not sure what they would do at the World Cup. Not sure I'm going with that one. Speaking of old things, Portugal played today with Cristiano Ronaldo up front.
Yeah.
See? Segue.
You did it.
I'm learning from the master.
You did. You did well. Grasshopper. You watched this. I was driving to the stadium. You watched the game. You're going to have to tell everybody what happened between those two teams.
That segue could have been even meaner. I could have gone, speaking of old things that don't move a lot, here's Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo started up front for Portugal, and it was kind of funny watching the start of this game. That you had this thing, and I want to ask you about that. Every time the ball came near him or he touched the ball, there was a huge shriek in the crowd, which is really strange to have one player on the field that people react like this to. And I wonder, was this what it was like when David Beckham came over? Was it that
100%.
Yeah. People were. It's almost like they weren't there to watch the football; they were there to watch the famous person.
It started with Pele.
Yeah.
When Pele showed up back in the 70s and he touched the ball,
yeah,
everybody lost their mind because that's the power of the media and marketing. I mean, everybody just kind of gloms on like a magnet to these particular personalities because it's the thing that is fed to them endlessly. And Ronaldo is that too. And so Messi's very much that way here in the United States currently, and it doesn't surprise me that everybody was all, whistly and excited when Ronaldo did nothing.
Well, unfortunately for them, he didn't get the ball very often and had a largely ineffective performance. Which I do think, like I am, as listeners, faithful listeners will have noticed, I'm working really hard to keep an open mind about this. but I have been on the sort of, deep down, I just think they would be better if they had a striker who moved around a bit more. And the guy is 41, and I just think he looks very static and stationary. And they're trying to field things through him. And in the way that Argentina can still look for Messi constantly, because he's still so sharp and still so good at getting into dangerous areas and still so good at getting those shots off, Cristiano Ronaldo just isn't right now.
You and I were talking about this before the show. Is there anybody in the Portuguese staff or team that regret FIFA overturning the red card from the qualifying game that would have kept him probably out for the first 3 games of the tournament?
Because that is another thing. He shouldn't be playing this game. Like, he elbowed the guy in the head or shoulder. It was clear he threw an elbow.
Yeah, it was a violent conduct.
It was an absolutely
swing.
Straight 100% red card, no question about it. And he should be banned for 3 games, one of which would have been the game against Armenia they played afterwards. But then this one and the next one in the group stage he's supposed to be banned for. But then FIFA inexplicably just decided to unban him, which I don't think they've really done before.
Caicedo played?
Yeah, and which is nice because Caicedo of Ecuador was also banned, and they then have to subsequently go back and unban him as well, I guess, to just not look bad.
You're not banned. You're not
very
banned.
Strange behavior from FIFA. They made sure Cristiano Ronaldo was here. He just didn't do a lot when he was there. And I was looking at the Portuguese squad, so what are the options here? And there just aren't a lot. There is Gonzalo Ramos, who is a striker. He just isn't very, he's been in and out of the team at Paris Saint-Germain. And then there's Joao Felix, which clearly isn't something anyone wants. I don't really know what they're doing.
Is he even on a team?
He's in Saudi, I think.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, there is a shortage there. And Portugal, they had a lot of the ball in this game. I do actually believe they are the team so far in the tournaments that's had the most possession in their game. But they only produced 7 shots out of all of that.
Wow.
Like, that attack is not working. And the goal, the equalizing goal from DR Congo was Juan Vissa from across. And that kind of also shows they're not super tall. I overlooked this when we were previewing this, and I was really enthusiastic about this midfield, which is very strong. But there's not a lot of tall guys there. All 3 midfielders are kind of short. Ronaldo is probably not a great defensive marker. Like, there's not a lot of tall dudes, and I think in what could be a set-piece heavy tournament, that might be a negative.
Well, they end up drawing 1-1. We'll see how the rest of the group plays out after, as we said, the Uzbeks and Colombians play later on tonight. All right, we'll take our break. When we come back, we've got a new round of games to preview for tomorrow, and we'll do that next on World Cup Kick-Around. Sweet but Jesus, there was a goal in Ghana versus Panama. Ghana up 1-0. They scored in the 95th minute. And now they're just trying to drag this out. There's a little fracas going on. Not a great game.
Not a great game, but what a great song. This is, if we got any Swedes listening, this was the Sweden's World Cup song for World Cup 94.
Who is
which
this?
Was also here. It's the Swedes.
This sounds a little bit like Jellyfish.
This is very 90s Swedish pop music. What a chorus.
I need to listen to more
titled
Swedish 90s Swedish pop music.
And it's actually titled When We're Digging for Gold in the USA. Because that's what we do. You go to America to dig for the gold.
Dig for the gold. I love it. Very good. Welcome back to World Cup Kick-Around. We'll do one more segment. Let's talk about what is happening tomorrow in the World Cup. 4 games once again. This is 4 games a lot. Soccer in one day.
What? Now you're discovering this. This has been the last few days.
I know.
Peter.
It's all the weight of it is starting to
wait until we have 8 or whatever it is. That'll be exciting. Double screening all around.
Let's see. We'll start off at 11 a.m. out in Atlanta on Fox. It is the Czech Republic, who allow a lot of goals, versus South Africa, who can't score any goals. I don't know what to anticipate out of this. Obviously, these are 2 teams that need a win. So, in Group A, any thoughts on this one, Lars?
I saw a list. 100,000% confidence in the sourcing of this, but someone put together a list of the tallest and the shortest squads in the World Cup in a ranking of height.
Okay.
Average height and squad. And I believe
you have my attention.
I believe South Africa have the 2nd shortest squad in the entire tournament, and the Czechs are the 5th tallest.
Interesting.
Now that we know the Czechs are tall boys, we established this when they played the Koreans, where there was a really big height difference. I suspect there's going to be a big height difference here as well. Kind of hoping for more from South Africa. They were kind of stinky in that first game. They were shown energy, but they just didn't seem to know what to do with the ball, I guess. Like they couldn't connect passes. The Czechs, I think, will do exactly the same thing they tried to do against the Koreans. Just be solid, physical, go for set pieces. Kind of think this has like 2-0 Czech Republic, 2 corner kicks or something written all over it, to be honest.
Well, the other Group A game is interesting. It is Mexico in Guadalajara against South Korea. I did not know this. I saw this in my research for this game. Do you realize that Mexico is undefeated against South Korea in 28 years?
That's not a stat I had right at the back of my head, Peter. No.
I thought you had all this
How
stuff
many games are there? Have they played?
It's several games.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's 28 years they've played each other in various tournaments and things over the time.
They've got the hex of the South Koreans.
They played a friendly when the Koreans came over, and there was a little round robin of games when the U.S. played them. They played Mexico, and they drew that game 2-2 last fall.
Well, Korea looked, in that second half against the Czechs, the Koreans looked really good, I thought. They really grew into that game and started putting some nice passing moves together. I think the Mexicans, of course, will feel confident after that opening day win against South Africa, but I was a little underwhelmed in that game. I thought that was a game where they could have really gone to try to run up a score, could have done even more, and I think this could be an interesting game. Of course, whoever wins here, I mean, that'll have a lot of influence over who ends up winning the group in the end. And as we've established, winning groups are important.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Man, it feels like forever ago that Mexico played a game.
Yes.
And Korea, for that matter, since they both played on the same day.
A simpler time, Peter.
It was. And Mexico were not great in that win over South Africa. And so, to your point, I don't know, man. Mexico in Mexico always, to me, feels like they've got the advantage on their side, but we'll see how this one plays out. I think I had Mexico winning this game in my picks and so forth. All right, in Group B tomorrow, the first game is at 2 p.m., and it's the Swiss facing off against the Bosnians, who, by the way, very quietly are undefeated in their last 9 games.
Are they now?
Yes, lots of draws.
That's
in fact,
I
think they've drawn their last 3 games.
Tell you what, Peter, like in the absence of Andy, you have really taken upon you to bring the stats, the historical stuff. This is
what I get paid so
really
much money to do.
Taking responsibility. We love to see it.
And let me just point this out. This is one of those groups after one round of games in the World Cup where we've got groups that are just completely even Steven all the way across. They all drew, and they all have 0 goal differential. So everything's going to come down to 2 games. So that, I think, is fascinating. Group B is one of those. So the Swiss and Bosnia at 2 p.m. out in L.A. on Fox. Any thoughts on the Swiss or Bozzies?
I would say
that's my official new nickname.
Bozzies. I'm not sure that really works.
You'd probably be offended by that.
Well, I'm sure someone was. Listen, this has some snoozery potential, I think. I'm not saying it's going to be definitely.
It won't be Ghana, Panama.
Well, what we saw from Switzerland against Qatar is that they were quite dominant but wasteful with their chances and maybe lacked a little bit of creativity and X factor. What we saw against Bosnia against Canada is that they're quite stout defensively. They've got a lot of tall boys. I think they were the tallest squad, actually, in this ranking. So I think the Bosnians were the biggest. And now that I believe everyone has played, their 2 center halves, Nikola Katic and Tarik Muaremovic, are still the 2 players who have had the most defensive contributions in this tournament. They are undefeated after that supreme rearguard action against Canada. I think this could be... You know what? If you're trying to pace yourself, if you're trying to see there are certain games that maybe you don't need to spend time with, maybe you need to speak to your family occasionally or do your job, then maybe this would be, it could be skippable.
Just a note, if you happen to watch the Bosnians, the kid out on the right-hand side, I think he's 21. He's actually American.
Yes.
And he came through the New England Revolution Academy. He's from Wisconsin originally. You're going to have to help me with the pronunciation. Bazraktarevic.
Yeah, that's close enough. I noticed him as well. He looked lively.
He's actually a really interesting player.
He's got something.
And he's done some nice things for Bosnia, but he is an American kid.
Doesn't he play in Denmark? I remember. I'm supposed to know
He's
these
with
things.
PSV, yes.
Yeah.
And then the other game at 5 out in Vancouver on FS1 are the Canadians. Andy's Canadians versus Qatar. And the Canadians are undefeated in 9, and the Qatarians. Have we ever figured out the
Qataris?
The Qataris,
Yeah.
thank you, have not won in 7.
I'm still reeling from this draw that they got. It was it was such an improbable result.
Did you say they were the worst team in the tournament?
Yeah, and I think they still might be. They had. I mean, the Swiss were just really inefficient. Like, you shouldn't play with your food, and this is what the Swiss did in this game. And then right at the end, the Qataris had a rare visit in the Switzerland half and managed to score a goal. I still maybe this is we have this saying and. Lars' Norwegian saying "Brent barn skyr ilden." You know, the burned child is afraid of the fire. It's true. So I think, I mean, I was very tempted to
stop.
No,
wait, hold on.
Sure.
How in the world is that something like your grandmother taught you?
Well, it's one
a
of those
fable?
like if you go too close to the fireplace or something, and if you burn yourself,
is
then you
every
become
little
afraid
quaint
of that.
Norwegian saying something horrible and awful like that?
Not horrible. Sometimes it's
What's
to do
the
with,
one about camping and bears?
No, that's just a me saying. I mean, a lot of the other sayings are to do with fish, and they're not actually that horrible. We should have. If we run out of material this summer, which seems unlikely given how many games there are, we can do Norwegian idiom night.
Burned child is afraid of the fire.
It's true.
Okay. Well, yes, obviously.
I mean, we could maybe say scolded instead of burnt. That seems less dramatic.
All right, keep going. Sorry, I got didn't mean to get bogged.
My point is, here we have a game between Canada, who had so many chances and did a lot of good stuff against Bosnia, just couldn't score, against Qatar, who were outplayed for most of the game, but somehow dug out a result. And see, the sort of gambler in me thinks this is when Canada, strike back and get the. Yeah. But what if it happens again? What if the exact same thing happens again? Canada misses chances and Qatar hold on. Like, maybe, but I kind of think this is when Canada get up and running in this tournament.
And before we go, it is time now. I'm hoping you have it ready. It's time now for Lars's World Cup lock of the night.
Yeah.
How are we doing on locks now? We've done 3
We're not
of them.
doing well, Peter. We've got one that's
Oh, no.
one that Argentina, Algeria. Argentina win less than 4 goals. That was fine. We did
that
have
was up.
That was. There we go. Yeah, excellent. Much
What
better.
was the other one?
Well, it was the Turkey-Australia debacle that still gives me nightmares.
That was down.
Yeah, that was definitely down.
And what was the third?
Portugal. You were supposed to win against Congo. You were supposed to win.
So you mean to tell me your infamous trait of betting and
just
predicting
just not doing
has
well.
led the P1 to a 1-2 record?
Yes, in this case it has. It's led me to a 1-2 record.
I'm going to introduce you to Norm.
I do put my own skin in the game for this, No, the tricky thing when it's the second round of games is that you do have to take the intel that you got from the first round, but you also don't need to overreact to the first round of games. It's Canada-Qatar stuff. I'm staying clear of it altogether. I want the Czechs against South Africa. I don't think the Czechs are a fabulous team, but we saw against South Korea how dangerous they can be from set pieces. South Africa is one of the shortest teams in the competition. They looked a little bit chaotic and unstructured in their game against Mexico. I think the Czechs will win this.
So that's the lock.
Yeah.
Czechs over the South Africa. All right. And that's Lars's World Cup lock of the day. Very good. Excellent.
It's just become
Everybody write it down.
a vehicle for mockery, but I think that's fair. Because I do
or
spend
angry P1s that have
also that
a mortgage payment.
Can I also just say, this is since we're talking about gambling, only ever gamble with money that you would be comfortable setting fire to. Like, that's how low the stakes needs to be. Like, don't ever listen. We should be sensible about this stuff. Come on.
All right, before I let you go, what was your favorite feature of Jerry World today?
I mean, I did enjoy, like, when you're driving up to it and it's just kind of looming in the background. You kind of see why it got the nickname the Death Star. I mean, that is 100%. Like, it did remind me of the one of the Star Wars films when they're trying to shoot the Death Star to look like this sort of ominous orb that's sort of menacing you from in the distance. Yeah, I liked how it's absolutely massive, but it's still the stands are steep enough and it feels kind of compact. And I reckon the view even from the cheap seats is probably okay there compared to some. I mean, maybe I'll get the chance to find out later in the tournament, but
we'll see.
It seems very well designed.
And what's the most insane feature of Jerry World?
It probably is the big screen. I mean, the big screen is it's still, the European mind is still reeling from the size of these. It made me think of last time I went to Thailand. The first time you see like these giant Buddha statues that they have. In Thailand, they love a big Buddha. They have massive Buddha statues. And you look at that and think, oh my God, that's the biggest like representation of a human I've ever seen.
I love it.
No statue should be this big. This is kind of how I felt looking up at the big screen.
So Jerry's giant TV screen is essentially Texas Buddha.
Yes, let's say that.
All right,
some sort of the religious connotations there.
I'm delighted that you got to enjoy Jerry World.
I did enjoy it.
And I hope you get to go back because Norway's playing around a 32 game in there.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
That would. Yes, it's going to happen. 100%. I agree.
All right, Andy will rejoin us tomorrow. We will be back. Lots of previewing the big USA game, which will happen on Friday, as we all get very antsy and tighten our sphincters over that excitement. Thank you to Dixon for his excellent producing. Thank you to Jay for running the board oh so sweetly. P1s, hope you're enjoying the World Cup. We will speak to you again tomorrow night right here on the Mighty Old Ticket.